Ever, yeah.
Right. I guess we're going to the next match here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Gavin's heading back now. Cool. Well, thanks for coming, and it was cool seeing your deck. Yeah, everything but this. Or the marker.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the semifinals here of the Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Big Head Joe, and this is a Legacy semifinal starting to wrap up the tournament. Two great decks played by two great players. I'm going to be excited to see how this all turns out. On the right, we have Gerry Thompson. Gerry, no stranger to the scene of top 8 coverage, won the standard portion, playing blue, white, black Caw-Blade without Day of Judgment. He kind of went in an unconventional direction, then did the exact same thing today. He came in today, was like, I don't want to play with these Stifles, I don't want to play with these Tombstalkers, I want to play Dark Confidant, so I'm going to play some Discard, I'm going to play some Terravores, and I think the deck looks awesome. But he basically cut all the things I didn't like about Team America and replaced it with really sweet spells. So I'm pretty happy with it. McCracken, on the other hand, is another deck I love. He's playing Affinity, but he's playing 4 Tezzerets, no Ravagers, no Disciples, Nod or Arcbound Worker to his name. He's just playing Affinity, 16 lands, 4 Mox Opals, has some Tezzerets that he can play and just kills opponent. All his artifact lands count, and he can just drop them straight from 20 to 0 sometimes. Blake innovated a mono-red deck that got 9th place yesterday. Mono-red control deck with Kuldotha Phoenix, 9th place on tiebreakers. So he's clearly no stranger to building decks either, which is pretty awesome. And it looks like the players are off. We have Darksteel Citadel from Blake McCracken, Ornithopter. Oh, yeah, this looks like the Affinity draw. Mox Opal, Ornithopter, Darksteel Citadel, 2 mana, Thoughtcast. Gerry's like, yeah, all right. Alright, draws. I guess 3 permanents in a draw, too, is good enough for turn 1.
Not too bad.
Certainly not too shabby.
It's an Underground Sea there from Gerry.
Yep, Underground Sea from Gerry Thompson. And
Ball of Whispers from Blake. Blake's got 3 mana now. Basically means he can cast everything in his deck except for Tezzeret, right?
Yeah, I mean, he can bring down everything but Tezzeret, but he doesn't even need to play Tezzeret yet. I mean,
no, not at all.
He's with such an explosive start, he can, looks like he's got Signal Pest. Okay, so he's going to play Springleaf Drum. Now he has access to all 4. He can cast Tezzeret if he wants to. Ornithopter taps for a mana using Springleaf Drum. Taps 3. And are we going to see... What is that? It's slightly off screen. It looks like Etched Champion.
Mm-hmm.
So 2/2 protection from all colors. Very hard for Gerry Thompson's deck to deal with. I'm looking through his deck list trying to figure out what answers he has to protection from all colors.
I don't think he runs explosives.
Oh, were the deck lists taken?
They took the top 4 deck lists.
Top 4 deck lists. How inconvenient.
He can get them back.
But, or actually, you know what? All top 16 deck lists are online right now. My internet died. But, Joe, you can look them up real fast.
Be able to pull it up. Gerry
is pretty light on ways to deal with Etched Champion. Dark Confidant from Gerry Thompson, and that's been the card for him all weekend, searching up all kinds of card advantage from the top of his library. No tops, but he doesn't need them. He's like, you know, fine, I'll take 5 from this Force of Will. I'll be happy to have it as long as I have 1 life left at the end of the game. That's all that matters. Looks like Blake drew a Tezzeret here, which he can cast. And that's going to be pretty brutal.
Okay, my internet's actually moving glacially, but we do have the lists.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, great.
So we have Gerry back. I just want to see, what does he have? Yeah, he has no good answer. Also should note, Gerry's removal spells, 4 go for the throats. Not exactly the card you want against Affinity.
No. Not particularly. And he doesn't even have the, what's he call? He doesn't have the engineered explosives either.
Right. No explosives. And yeah, so Blake lands Tezzeret, no Force from Gerry. He goes +1. Look at my top 5 cards, take 1. And he's leaving back Etched Champion to block, which Gerry has no way to kill. Assuming Blake gets to untap with that Tezzeret, it's going to be lights out. Or assuming Blake gets to untap with that Tezzeret, it's going to be lights out for Gerry Thompson. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts already on the board. That's 12 points of drain damage from Tezzeret. Frogmite being added to the board will make that 14 points of drain damage, plus anything that Blake plays. Practically finishing off Gerry. He has a single pest in his hand, so I mean that's 18 points. And then S Champion attacks for lethal. So Gerry is going to need to find an answer here. Yeah, and Blake's thinking about if he should attack with his S Champion or not, and he's like, I don't want to risk it. I would rather just make sure that my Tezzeret's able to go ultimate. And Gerry flips Daze to his Dark Confidant, dropping down to 18, a life total which is surprisingly relevant with Tezzeret's ultimate around.
Absolutely.
So Gerry maneuvering with his mana. Okay, he cracks a Polluted Delta, and he's going to go for Tarmogoyf. A nice little blocker, but I don't know how much it's going to do right now for him.
Doesn't seem like it's going to.
He passes back to Blake, and let's see what happens. Thoughtcast for Blake McCracken has the potential to put him even further ahead, making sure he can deal a lethal amount of damage. Gerry Thompson sitting at 17, so Blake needs 9 artifacts to deal lethal, although considering that Etched Champion swing, he really only needs 7 artifacts. Okay, so he plays a Signal Pest, brings his count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is, that should be it, as long as nothing gets muddled too much here. Gerry surveys the board.
It's a pretty rough game one there.
Yeah, pretty rough game one. A great start by Blake McCracken, and that's the kind of thing that the Affinity deck can really do. Okay, so Gerry forces the Signal Pest, which drops Gerry down to 16 life. Blake Thoughtcasts, looking for more artifacts. Looks like he drew another champion there, and a Blinkmoth Nexus, which can become a creature. But it can be wastelanded away, which is important to note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still 14 points of drain damage for Blake McCracken. And then 2 from the Etched Champion. That should be lethal. So Blake activates his Nexus, and yeah, Gerry packs him in.
Yeah. Unleash
McCracken, as the head judge just walked by and gave us a piece of paper that said...
that was also on Twitter as well. New catchphrase, unleash the McCracken.
Oh, yeah, and he certainly got the draw there that made you think about that. Turn 1 just dropped so many permanents onto the battlefield, and then backed it up with that Tezzeret off the top, and that just shows you how powerful Tezzeret is. In Standard and Extended, it's interesting enough trying to figure out, okay, we can go +5 with your Planeswalker, get some artifacts, maybe drain them out. But in this deck, you essentially get 2 for every permanent they have, which is just unbelievable. In the meantime, we're going to be giving away 6 months of premium subscription to StarCityGames.com, which you're definitely going to want. Great writers like Gerry Thompson, who's featured in this match, will be writing on the premium side as soon as next week. I'm sure Gerry will have an article up talking about his top 8 today. Who knows if it could end in a victory, semifinals, finals, who knows what's going to happen. And he already won the standard portion. He's going to be talking about that and his modifications to the Caw-Blade deck that's been seeing play everywhere here, and the modifications to his Team America deck, which he's playing right here in the semifinals.
I got the question.
All right, so Joe's taking care of the question here. Get your hashtag ready, hashtag SCG Premium, put it on Twitter, and try and win 6 months of premium. Here we go.
What deck, not the player, but what archetype did the winner of the Memphis SCG Legacy Open lose to today in the quarterfinals?
Okay. So for those who didn't hear the question the first time, which deck did the winner of last week's Legacy Open in Memphis lose to in the quarterfinals this weekend? He made top 8 again. Who did he lose to?
Which deck?
Or
what archetype?
Which deck, excuse me, did he lose to? Tweet us with the answer. Use the hashtag SCG Premium. Very important that goes in there. And we'll choose one person who gives the correct answer, and they could win 6 months. So all you have to do is tweet now, and we'll choose someone by the end of the match. So you've got a couple minutes to think about it, do some research on StarCityGames.com. I'll give you a hint. All top 16 deck lists are up already if you want to go in and figure it out. In the meantime, these players are getting ready to game, and I'm going to look at their sideboards here seeing what Gerry has available to him. Looks like Maelstrom Pulse and Krosan Grip are coming in for sure. Two versatile ways to destroy McCracken's artifacts. Plus, Maelstrom Pulse also a way to deal with Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, the card which did Gerry in last game. Ghastly Demise, I think, might be a little too slow, but depending on how fast Gerry thinks he can dump cards into his graveyard, it could become relevant. On what he's taking out, Inquisition of Kozilek does not seem that exciting in this matchup to me. I don't know how I feel about Daze. McCracken is light on mana sometimes in the first couple turns, maybe on the play it's okay. Go for the Throat obviously comes out. It's just a completely blank card. So Gerry will almost, there's no almost about it, will certainly be cutting all 4 Go for the Throats. So that's 4, 5 cards right there. He's bringing in up to 7 cards, between 4 and 7 cards. So we'll see what modifications Gerry makes to his deck here. On McCracken's side, let's see, he's got Pithy Needle, Diabolic Edict, Ethersworn Canonist, Relic of Progenitus, and Thoughtseize that can come in. Do you think we'll see the Thoughtseizes here, Joe?
Perhaps. From Gerry, you mean? Or from
Blake McCracken out of his sideboard.
Yeah, sure. Because, I mean, they can beat Gerry to the punch on him to Turok. I mean, it can just, strip any sort of sideboard cards that he might have put in out of his hand.
How strong do you think him to Turok is going to be in this matchup? Because it seems like on turn 2, you can really get some of Blake's cards out. You can strip him of some potential Thought cast he was hoping to cast. You can strip him of Tezzeret, of course, right? But
I think that's huge. I mean, especially with Gerry on the play. Because, I think that, having or giving Blake 2 turns to develop his board before Gerry can cast him to Turok, there's not going to be much left.
It's just the one issue, of course, is if you want to have him early, you want to leave a bunch in, right? If you leave too many in, you risk drawing them late, where they're going to be totally dead draws, pretty much.
Completely dead
Gerry Thompson.
against Blake, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you risk that with all the discard spells. So I can't help but wonder if he's going to maybe leave in Thoughtseize, which is lets him take the one card he's worried about, as opposed to him. But we'll see what happens here. I'm not sure if he wants to deal with density and how it changes on the play versus the draw. Other than that, I don't think we'll see Diabolic Edict from McCracken. I feel like obviously Gerry's going to be trying to pick up card advantage with Tarmogoyf or with Dark Confidant, and also have Tarmogoyf to back it up. But I don't know if a reactive card is really what McCracken's looking for. When we had him in the booth talking about his deck, he said Diabolic Edict pretty much only comes in against Progenitus decks.
Yeah.
But
that seems about right.
Relic of Progenitus probably not. Pithy Needle, I don't think that would come in this matchup for any reason. So Thoughtseize seems to be the most likely card to come in for me. All right, and it looks like both players kept their hand. And Gerry leads with Misty Rainforest, and Blake has Seat of the Synod and tries to go for an Ornithopter. Gerry allows it, goes for Mox Opal. Once again with a lightning fast start by Blake McCracken. Gerry thinking about it. Looks like his hand is Brainstorm, a couple lands. Him to Turok, looks like he left those in. Okay, so Blake makes a scary start of Seat of the Synod, Ornithopter, Mox Opal, but does not follow it up with anything. He simply plays a bunch of cards and says go. But when that happens, that can only mean one thing. Their turn 2 is going to be pretty powerful.
Right.
Because when you keep a hand like that with no quick action, it means that you have more on the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So Brainstorm by Gerry Thompson here, going to sift through some cards, try and find the one he wants. And I think he probably has another fetch land in his hand. I'm pretty sure he does, so he can shuffle away the ones that he doesn't want. Looks like he drew another Brainstorm, a Dark Confidant. Can't quite make out the other card in his hand. Let's see, so he looks like he puts back a Brainstorm and something else. He has Misty Rainforest at the top, so he draws the Brainstorm, cracks Misty Rainforest to shuffle away those cards, and yeah, so he did leave him to Turok. He's going to take 2 of Blake's cards here, which could be absolutely brutal, especially since Blake didn't have a great turn 1 start. If he just takes the right cards here, he could eliminate Blake's chances of procuring the second turn rush that he was hoping for. So Gerry's going to roll some dice and see which cards get taken. So the second card goes Mirror Enforcer. And the first card goes Blinkmoth Nexus, and the Mirror Enforcer was no doubt part of Blake's second turn, third turn plan for establishing a beatdown advantage. Now Blake is down to only 3 cards.
Yeah, him to Turok was pretty big there.
Yeah, looks like Seed of the Synod, Blinkmoth Nexus, Etched Champion, and I can't quite make the card out all the way to the left. So Blake plays Blinkmoth Nexus, or at least, yeah. So Blinkmoth Nexus comes down, taps 3. Here, because here's Etched Champion. Protection from all colors, definitely an issue for Gerry. Gerry has ways to deal with everything else in Blake's deck, but the protection from all colors will not only slowly whittle away Gerry's life total, but also serve as an unkillable blocker for cards like Tarmogoyf. Gerry doesn't have anything like Pernicious Deed to deal with it.
Right. Deed's a card that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of lately.
Yeah, we saw a little in sideboards today, and if this Affinity deck starts getting really popular, I expect we'll see a lot more. Affinity just top 8'd in Edison 2 weeks ago, and I was there, and I talked to Mike Eisenhower, who's playing the deck, and he felt like it was a really good choice for this metagame. He just tore through a lot of his opponents, and you can just get draws that are just totally insane, you know, and unbeatable if your opponent doesn't have the hate for them. Like we saw with Blake's start in the last match against Adam Kai, 6 cards played on the first turn, 6 of his 7 cards, totally unbelievable. So Blake serves in for 2 with Etched Champion, 1 with Blinkmoth Nexus, dropping Gerry by 3 points. Gerry cracks Polluted Delta, dropping to 13 life. And there's Tropical Island. So Gerry has access to green now, can probably unload maybe a Tarmogoyf he's been holding on to. Or there's Terravore. Okay, so yeah, Bayou, Tropical Island, Underground, Sea allow him to cast a Terravore. And okay, it looks like, let's see.
No, all his creatures get through Terravore.
It's true, Blinkmoth Nexus flies in the air for 1. Etched Champion gets around Terravore for 2. Oh my. Blake ripped Tezzeret off the top there after having his last Tezzeret taken away.
Oh my goodness.
And Gerry clearly is not happy about that. He's not showing it, but I'm sure in his head that's not something he was happy to see. So Tezzeret comes down, and what do you think you do here? Do you think you just go -1, make your Ornithopter a 5/5?
Looks like that's what he's doing.
Yep. And so he serves for 7 points, chopping Gerry's life total in half.
Wow, put him on a 1-turn clock here.
And now Gerry can send Terravore to Tezzeret, killing off Tezzeret.
But that creature's already, I mean, that Ornithopter's already a 5/5.
Yep, and just permanent.
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness.
All right, and there goes Brainstorm for Gerry, trying to dig into an answer. So Croson Grip was just drawn by Gerry Thompson, meaning he's got an answer to the Ornithopter, but Etched Champion still puts Gerry on a 3-turn clock, and he has no way to deal with it. So that Terravore is going to have to kill Blake before Etched Champion does him in. So Gerry, if he's going to win this game, is going to have to play really tight Magic. All right, so yeah. Oh, so he chooses the Maelstrom Pulse, the Ornithopter, kills off Tezzeret, and passes. Blake draws, and he can attack for 3 here with the Nexus.
Actually,
and
2-turn clock, yeah.
Yeah, the champion. I mean, Gerry can potentially Croson Grip that Blinkmoth Nexus on the next turn, buying him 1 more turn. Oh no, I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's it. Gerry packs it in. Gerry is not a 2-time champion.
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend.
Man, he got close.